Yo, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm feeling much better today. Much better today. We got some stuff to talk about. So, let's get this show rolling. I know it's a bit early, and I apologize that it is early. But there's just several things that I got to get done today, so I have to do the show early. So, if you're catching the replay, which most likely you are, thank you so much for coming in. Stay tuned through the entire broadcast. Some pretty good stuff to talk about today. But first off, I want to give a shout out to the channel members, all of you guys for taking a chance on a guy like me. Thank you so much for doing that because I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, channel members are awesome. Appreciate you guys so much. Yeah, there's a lot that you know that I talk about, report on, or whatever. YouTube's being a little bit picky, so if you guys like to help out the channel with a one-time monetary donation, there you guys can do it right there. That'd be PayPal if you guys want to, but the biggest way that you guys can get this thing circulated is to share it on social platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, MeWe, whichever social platform you're on. I would deeply appreciate that, and smashing the like button really, really, really helps out. But okay, so we're going to be talking about Apple going into production and creating the Apple car, or whatever they're going to call it. The Fruitmobile, whatever it may be. We're going to talk a little bit about that and how that's going. Some mentions of Android 12, and with the latest leaked developer preview shows off some new features that we didn't think about. Also, I've been seeing some random images of the Pixel 5a, and could the exclusive color for the Pixel 5a be a red version? So I'll kind of discuss that for a little bit. Facebook getting into another field with a service called Spark, which is supposed to be video speed dating. So I'll kind of make mention of that. And then, of course, the CCMI ending its joint venture together. That would be AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, along with RCS messaging. We'll talk a little bit about that. And also, Roku TVs, smart TVs such as Samsung TVs and LG will lose access to Google Play Movies and Android TV features. Why this is happening, and then exactly what does that mean for you if you own any of these products. So we'll just kind of go into that one right now. So last year, Google unveiled Google TV, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to consolidate everything under a new brand. So they kind of revamped Android TV and its UI, and brought in features where Android TV can look at various different subscriptions that you have, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Starz, Amazon Prime. It doesn't matter. If you have an active subscription to it linked to your Gmail account, it was able to pull up movies on those platforms when you were searching for a movie throughout the entire search of Android TV. And it would bring you those options of where you can stream watch these movies and TV shows at. Now, Roku and Samsung and LG TVs have Google Play Movies. That's where you can buy digital copies of your favorite movies, or even rent movies to watch. You know, maybe it's not one that you want to completely own, but you know, you're wanting to rent it for maybe like a date night at home. You could do that from Google Play Movies. And these services are still active on various third-party smart devices such as Samsung and LG smart TVs, and of course the Roku stick and Roku box. They still have those. So Google is shutting down connections with those devices to play movies and such, because it's consolidating everything under Google TV. So with the latest Chromecast, which is called Chromecast with Google TV, it brings a whole new UI and everything like that. You can probably find videos that kind of like shows off, you know, the Google TV user interface and everything like that. And they never made mention if Google TV is going to be replacing these app services on these smart devices, entirely how that's going to go. Now, it doesn't mean that your access to Google Play Movies is gone. So any movies that you bought on Google Play Movies will still be accessible from your Android smartphone. from your Chromebook. You'll be able to go into Google Play Movies. You'll be able to go to My Movies or My Shows and see all the ones that you purchased. However, if you purchase movies and stuff on Roku, or if you purchased it on a Samsung Smart TV or an LG Smart TV, a lot of your content that you purchase will actually be available in YouTube under My Movies. So if you're wanting to access those, you would have to go to YouTube to see those. On top of that, you would lose the family sharing ability. So if you have this stuff on a Roku or on a smart TV, if you had family sharing on with Google Play Movies, where family members that's linked to your Google account could access those movies, you won't be able to, and they won't be able to from a Roku or a Samsung or LG Smart TV. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer. However, through the Play Movies app, you'll be able to on your Android smartphone, tablet, Chromebook. You'll be able to actually access those things. So, yeah, all of this into killing off the services known as Google Play Movies, only because they're really trying to push Google TV. And with making moves like this, my only concern with Google is that they can't back down. Google's notorious for this. They tend to do this, right? So they tend to try to consolidate everything under one service, and they push aggressively to make that happen. But then as they get feedback that their fan base is unhappy, they buckle under the pressure, and then they totally just stop working on the current service, which i.e. would be Google TV. And then that will flop, and then that would get added to the Google graveyard. It will have a nice headstone, a nice plot already picked out for it, and it will go to rest. And that's the problem that I have with the big G company, is them doing that. So with this aggressive move, as far as third-party smart devices making changes, no longer accessing Google Play Movies and Android TV, they really, really, really need to stick with this. Like, they definitely need to stick with this. They cannot back down. They got to make these moves happen. They got to consolidate everything under one thing and make that. Now, one thing it didn't mention is if Google TV would be an update to Samsung and LG Smart TVs as well as Roku, if they would be making that transition later on down the road. So no mention of that, but that could be a possibility. We'll have to see. Maybe in newer Roku devices, it will be. Maybe in newer Samsung and LG Smart TVs, it will be. But in previous ones, no mention of updating them. Just removing access to how you get your content that you've purchased and bought. So that's something that definitely want people to know about. So yeah, we'll say goodbye to that. Moving on next, guys, we're going to talk about the CCMI, which is a joint coalition with at&t, T-Mobile, and Verizon that was really hell-bent on pushing RCS messaging. That is going away. Now, it doesn't mean that they are going to give up support on RCS messaging, which is set to actually replace SMS, but they're joint in, getting notifications is not good. Let me go ahead and put the notifications to silent. Okay. Yeah, I get notifications on my Chromebook. Anyways, yeah, they're not giving up on pushing RCS messaging. It's just I guess the idea between the three carriers was developing an app that they would all use that would push for RCS messaging. In recent talks, Google and T-Mobile have a joint partnership going on right now, to the fact that where T-Mobile will start pushing Google Messages on all their Android devices. That even includes Samsung devices, which normally has the Samsung Messages as default messaging on their phones. Will actually have Google Messages default on Samsung phones sold by T-Mobile. So T-Mobile closely linked with Google on this one. Verizon and at&t also still pushing for RCS. They're still going to push for it. They're just the CCMI is just pretty much done. So like this idea of developing an app that's cross-carrier platform is done. They're not going to do it. So I guess the idea is to rely on Google Messages for RCS messaging, or invoke it in their own carrier branded messaging app like Verizon Messages. And it's I don't look at it as a loss on the RCS side of things. I don't look at it as a loss at all whatsoever, only because they're not giving up on RCS messaging, and RCS messaging is making advancements. They are testing end-to-end encryption on messaging with RCS messaging to provide more security when using Google Messages. The idea is to deliver an enriched messaging experience. So what that technically means is like with the way that messaging was on smartphones and even on feature phones back in the day, relied on SMS and MMS. So you got short messaging service, and then you got multimedia messaging service. And what it would do, really, I mean, especially with multimedia messaging, was it would compress every photo and video that you sent. It would also give limitations on just how long of a video you can send over MMS, which wasn't a very allotted amount of time. It was very short, maybe like 30 seconds, I believe, if I remember correctly. And so what RCS intends to do, and what it actually has been doing if you've used RCS messaging, is when you send a picture, it doesn't compress the photo and scale it down. It doesn't do that to video either. I mean, there's still a limitation on the length of the video that you can send, but at least you're able to send that video in a good length, not 30 seconds. You can send it longer. Depending on the settings of your video. So I mean, if you're shooting like a 4K video, obviously that's not going to go through on RCS messaging, at least at this point. But if you are shooting, like in 720p, 1080p resolution, then it should go through, and it'll probably be like maybe like a minute video length, maybe 2-minute video length, but nothing like 10 minutes, nothing like that. Anytime that I've tried to do it, and it will tell me that it's too large of a file to do. But over time it will get better. But I think the biggest key thing here is end-to-end encryption when messaging. I think people are wanting that, and that's one of the things that's in iPhones with their iMessage is end-to-end encryption. And like I said before, and I told people before, they're going to be testing this out. They're going to be doing it, and some people have doubted that they would do it, and they're actually doing it. So there it is. So RCS messaging not going away. But the alliance between Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile with the CCMI, that is going to rest. T-Mobile really betting big on Google, and with their partnership, definitely going to put that into effect, that Google Messages default on Android devices sold through the T-Mobile brand. So, yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting. I'm glad to know that they still support RCS messaging, even though they're not trying to build a joint app for all of them to use. And in all seriousness, I mean, Google Messages being default on Android devices, I don't see that as a bad thing. I mean, I know Android is open source, so it allows you to choose whichever you want to use as your default app. But Google Messages with RCS messaging, I think should be default to start off with. I mean, make it default, but don't make it bloatware. I think that's the key thing that most consumers get aggravated about. And they won't be so aggravated if they turn on their phone and Google Messages happens to be like the native messaging app on there, because they can always download whatever they want to use, Samsung Messages or whatever third-party messaging app there is out there. I think the thing is that, if they want completely to use something else other than Google Messages, they also should be allowed to delete Google Messages off the Android phone. That's really what it is. Because nothing's more annoying than if you download an app and its app name is Messages on the user interface. So then you have two Messages app, because you have one that's Google Messages that is natively built in and can only be disabled but not removed, and then the one that you're using. So I think if they just make it where it is completely uninstallable and not just disabled, I think most people won't have a problem with that being the default messaging app. So how many people have gone on speed dating? If you have, comment. I'd like to know how many people have done this. Speed dating. Why am I bringing this up? Well, we'll get into that here in a sec. Anyways, so because of the pandemic and everything like that, speed dating virtually seems to be the way to go. What is a virtual speed date? Well, basically it's like a video chat session, maybe like a minute long, and think of it like Think of it like a what's that one video chat thing that people can just jump on with the Omegle? Think of it like that. So you get randomly paired with somebody, and you got like a virtual date going on, video chat, and apparently, if you're just letting it free flow, I think there's like a limitation on it. Maybe like, I don't know. I'm gonna guess and say maybe like 1 or 2 minutes, or maybe like 5 minutes. Like you get like 5 minutes to just chat with someone, and if the chemistry is there, maybe there's like a way that you can set it up to where you guys can just lock onto each other and stay in a video chat date for the remainder of the time that you're both online. Or if you're not feeling the other person, you don't lock onto them, and then at the limitation point, it lets you know that it's going to switch you to somebody else, and you end up having another person pop up on your screen, and the other one leaves, and you start over again, see if the chemistry's there, see if the conversation and the flow is there. Well, that seems to be a thing because Facebook is betting in on what they call Sparked. So Sparked is supposed to be a online video speed dating service currently accessible on the web right now, but the app version is not available yet. And initially, that's what it is. It is a video speed dating service. So Facebook really betting in on all kinds of things. So it's not like Tinder. It's not like Tinder or Plenty of Fish or any of that stuff. You don't swipe on anybody. You just, I guess the service is, you log in to your profile. You, I guess, submit that you're ready, to video chat, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's just video chats just popping up, and then I think every 2 or 5 minutes it cycles to somebody else, unless you and the person that you're chatting with have an interest in each other, and I'm pretty sure you guys can lock on, maybe exchange Facebook profiles, maybe take it to Facebook Messenger or whatever else. The whole thing about this, and like some people will laugh and be like, video speed dating sounds corny, sounds bad, sounds just ridiculous, and then people will just be like, well, you know what, what's so good about this? And to me, the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to Facebook Spark is safety, right? Because I'm pretty sure with Facebook Spark, you can't use it unless you have an accessible camera and you being in front of the camera. I doubt that they would allow somebody to just do their voice and have like an avatar up in place of a video feed. So catfishing on Spark could be a little challenging. And yes, while some people might say it's ridiculous, there are some people who just, are hopeless romantics and hopeless loves. And, for them, speed dating is something that, they initially would try to find a significant other to, have a relationship with and not feel so lonely and things like that. That makes sense. It makes sense. There are people that have the confidence to just walk up to anybody and just say, hey, I like you. And then there's other people that just like, can't. I'm going to go over there and pause and freeze and have that mad, weird, creepy look. And if that's the case, then yeah, finding a significant other to partner up with is going to be on the downside. So anyways, if you guys want to try Facebook Sparked, you can access it on the web. Let's search Facebook Sparked. That's SPARKED. And you guys can find it if you guys want to and try it out. If you're into that. If you're not into that, then that's totally cool. But I just figured, Facebook really getting into all kinds of things. I mean, their hotline, which is a Clubhouse clone. That's that's a thing that's coming here soon. Trying to find this image real quick because I wanted to share something with you guys. Hang on. Let's see. Where did they have it up at? But anyways, yeah. But Facebook is just all kinds of weirdness right now. All kinds of weirdness. And speaking of which, if you're a Clubhouse user, Clubhouse has been beta testing where creators, they call them creators on Clubhouse, where creators can get a tip from those people listening, and they started off with about with 1,000 creators to test this out, and they're opening it up to 60,000 creators, which means that if you are heavy on Clubhouse, which is an audio chat service, you could actually make revenue on it. Just like how, content creators such as myself here on YouTube, we make a little side cash on it, unless your videos are viral all the time, and you make a career out of it, depending on just how far you'll be able to go with it. Geez, I saw it this morning, and then I should have screenshotted it, but I didn't. Where did it go? That was Android Authority. See if we find it. Because it was actually crazy. So what I'm looking for here, what I'm trying to show you guys, and I can't seem to find it now. Sucks. Because I was going to say, could the Pixel 5a's exclusive color actually be red? And the reason why that I say that is because there was a thumbnail on an article, and I believe it was from Android Authority. It showed a box that said Pixel 5a 5G, and then it showed like the top part of the device. You know how the boxes are for Pixels, and it was red. Now I'm probably pretty sure that that's like an edited thing, but just would that actually be the exclusive color? Would it be some sort of red, like crimson or something like that? We've never had the color red used exclusively with a Google Pixel. We've had blue, we've had a greenish, we've had orange, we've had purple, we've had like a peach pink color. Yeah, no red or yellow. Those are the next two colors that I think might be tried out here, since Google likes to be a little bit quirky. If in fact it is, would you be willing to buy one in that color scheme? Would a red Pixel actually be something that you're interested in? That's something that I would say. Yeah, let me know on that. By the way, using a Pixel 2 XL, I brought it out just to use it, and it's been fun. It's still smooth as hell, the Pixel 2 XL. Of course, I'm working on a video for the Pixel 2 XL in 2021 to talk about it a little bit. So like a throwback video, that's coming on later on this week. All right, this goes into Android 12. So there's features and tweaks that just leaked about Android 12, and this actually comes from Android Authority. So I'll read the excerpts out of here. But it says an unreleased build of Android 12 has shed light on plenty of new features and tweaks. Expect new emojis, new permissions, the ability to trigger assistant via the power button, and more. There's no guarantee that all these features and tweaks will come to the final version, but this is what people are getting with the leaked developer preview. So I guess this is developer preview number 2. Developer preview 1 has been out for some time now, and they were able to get a leaked copy of it. So it says that the Android 12 developer preview program is already in full swing, allowing users to install early versions of an upcoming Android update on supported phones. These early updates already give us a good idea of what's coming next, such as easier Wi-Fi sharing, a one-handed mode, and better notifications. Hopefully, they have it to where once you check a notification on one device, it does not pop up on another device signed into the same Google account, because that's annoying. Yes, I have bad habits. Okay, now XDA developers have gained access to an unreleased version of the Android 12 developer preview, giving us a look at a few potential upcoming features. For one, Google lets you trigger the assistant by holding the power button for a few seconds. So pretty much what OnePlus has, because my OnePlus Nord N10 5G, if you trigger the power button, it will launch assistant unless you turn that off. And I guess in stock Android, it will. Presumably, you'll need to hold the button for a few seconds longer to access the actual power menu. So I guess maybe like you hold it for 3 seconds to trigger assistant, 5 seconds to trigger like your power menu to like shut down, restart, or put the phone in emergency mode. Other notable additions are new emojis based on the Unicode Emoji 3.1 release, quick settings tiles for smartphone controls, and card passes, notifications when app accesses your clipboard, and 2 new permissions. In the case of the new permissions, we're looking at a mysterious media management and alarms and reminders permissions. The outlet explains that the latter permission will enable an app to schedule alarms and reminders, so presumably third-party alarm reminder apps have to account for this change in the future. What else was uncovered? There are loads of general tweaks spotted in this unreleased version of Android 12 too. Some of the more noteworthy tweaks include improved scrolling screenshots, launching a separate window showing an extended screenshot from the get-go, then letting you crop as you see fit. A search field in the widget picker so you can find the relevant widget, automatically splash screens for apps upon opening them. So now new splash screens or whatever. In the latter case, XDA noted that this Android 12 build generated an automatic splash screen for the outlet's own app despite it having a splash screen already. So you end up seeing 2 splash screens. Well, they'll probably fix that in the final form, but in this developer preview, they noticed that. So when they launched it, say like you launch Snapchat, there'll be a splash screen created by Android 12 when you launch the app, and then the actual splash screen from the Snapchat app itself. Currently, right now, doesn't mean that this is what it's going to be like when Android 12 is finalized and rolled out. And I will repeat this again. This doesn't mean this is what it will be like when the final Android 12 rolls out. This is just happening right now on the developer preview. And if someone's going to ask me, why is it happening on the developer preview? What the hell do you think a developer preview is for? To find bugs and stuff like this and to fix them. So I have to throw that out there because some people will just be like, if it's going to be like that, I'm not, I hate Android 12. Well, it's not even the finalized version of it. It's not even in beta yet. Okay, so let's see. There are loads more tweaks to be had, such as new charging animations, the use of new Wi-Fi standard names, so Wi-Fi 5 and Wi-Fi 6, and dual panel home screen views for tablets. You can check out the full rundown and complete screenshots and video in the XDA article. Now, one of the things that Android 12 does have is multi-window pair. So like if you tend to use split screen mode quite a bit, and let's say you use it with YouTube and Google News, right? You always have Google News open on one window, YouTube on the other window. You can pair those on your home screen, kind of like how you group apps together. And so when you touch that group with YouTube and Google News, it'll automatically open those apps in a split screen window automatically, which Samsung had already had. And now it makes its way into Android 12 as a stock Android feature. So that's also another thing that I didn't see mentioned in that article that is coming to Android 12. So that's actually going to be pretty cool to be able to do that. Now it doesn't say if you can have like multiple windows. So it doesn't say you can have split screen like with 4 windows open or 3 windows open. But it allows you to pair 2 apps together and place them on your home screen as a paired joint app. And when you click it, it will launch those 2 services in a split window. And I think that's actually that's pretty cool. Makes it easier, so you don't always have to try and set it up. You don't have to go in if you're using those 2 apps together quite frequently. Just set it up to work there, and click and it'll open in that faction. All right, so I guess we'll get to the next one, which is Google Heads Up. Heads up, people! There's a car coming. Google has recently released with the latest updates to Pixel phones and Android a service feature being tested in digital well-being, so it's in beta, and it's called Heads Up. And what it's exactly what it's called, heads up. I mean, if you're walking and texting and the phone feels like you may not be aware of your surroundings, it'll give you a quick little notification pop up on your screen to tell you to look around. Now, I know there's going to be some people going to be like, oh my gosh, is this how far into the rabbit's hole we've gone? We need a phone to tell us to look around. We don't. Some people get wrapped up in a really intense conversation on messages and they forget to look up. Some people are reading something on their phone. Maybe they're enjoying a digital comic or something like that, and they're so immersed in it, they forget to look up. But you do need to look up. You need to be aware of your surroundings when you're walking and you're looking at your phone's display. This is how accidents happen. Car assumes that the person that's texting at a sidewalk coming to a crosswalk is going to stop because it's not their turn to walk, and continues to flow at, maybe they're going like 45, they see a person, they maybe slow down to 40. That's still a high speed. And the person just steps out into the crosswalk seconds before, and there's no way for that car to avoid them. And pow, they're just sent flying 40 feet. That's unfortunate, but it happens. Even those playing games like Pokemon Go or Harry Potter's Wizards Unite or whatever, they get so wrapped up in the game itself, they're not looking around. But another useful feature out of this heads up is, if you're walking around and you just happen to walk into a territory where there's, some really mean people around and stuff like that, it will remind you to look up, and you could be aware of your surroundings. You can know if there's like a guy that's like down at the end of the sidewalk of the street that looks suspicious. Just protect yourself. And I'm not going to bash at the fact that today with technology, we need technology to remind us to do simple things that are common sense. But I will say that it's nice. It's better to have it than to not have it. So big shout out to Google for that update. So if you want to see if you've taken the latest security patch, the software update for the security patch, more than likely this feature is going to roll out to your phone, and you start being able to seeing that with digital well-being, having heads up as a feature add-on. Also in recent notes, yes, Google Photos is initially saying bye-bye to high-resolution uploads. You guys heard me be vocal about this. But one thing that they did add is they did add video editing to Google Photos. So more, not a lighthearted editing on Google Photos, but a little bit more on there for creators. You can really start creating some stuff with Google Photos as a video editor. And this comes right on the eve of when high-res backups on Google Photos is going to cease and end. And it will count against your cloud storage service of what you have with Google One. So if you don't have cloud storage service with Google One or Google Drive, then you have 15 gigabytes of free storage with Google. And trust me, with the amount of emails that people have and stuff, that eats at it. So your 15 gigs won't be 15 gigs enough. However, Google Photos bringing in video editing at a time where they're going to take that away, it's kind of weird. But obviously, this service is more than likely going to be tied to Google One. So if you don't have a Google One membership, you probably won't even see the abilities of what you can do with video editing. So when this feature is live and absolutely live, I will be testing it out by creating a video for YouTube solely using the Google Photos editing. So I will have another video showing me editing the video that I'm posting to YouTube. So you guys see the whole thing and how it works, the whole process and everything. When I upload that. So that's actually going to be pretty neat. Can't wait to be doing that. So we'll see how good it is. Can Google Photos video editing at least come near close to what I use, which is Power Director. That's what I use on my Android phones and on my Pixelbook. And Power Director has come a long way for video editing, and I really, really, really love it. And I use it on my phones too for on-the-go video editing. All right, let's get into the last subject of it all, the Apple Car. The Apple Car, and it looks like that my connection to the Wi-Fi is bugging out, so I'm probably freezing up. I don't know. Hopefully not. So anyways, Tesla has been around and is very popular, right? Self-driving electric vehicle, good to go. Lots of people trying to get their hands on a Tesla. Me personally, I have no interest in Tesla. I think they're cool. The technology is awesome. It's neat. I give it the neato stamp of approval. But you know, they doesn't really have a someone to challenge it. And now we do. That would be Apple. Apple will be the one. Now, it's not to say that Apple's the first one to do it, the first one to attempt it, because Google's been testing this out for a while now. If you guys remember Waymo or Wago, I think it's what it's called, which is Google's self-driving vehicles. And it's actually self-driving vehicles. So they've been testing them here in Tempe, Arizona. We see them all over the place. You know, about a year and a half ago, before the pandemic, we've been seeing a lot of them around. And yeah, they've been acting as a taxi service. So they've been driving people to their appointments and stuff like that. And it's a self-driving van. But it's a van. Tesla has gone a step further with Elon Musk, and you know, just really just kind of getting in there with these you know, the self-driving features that's in Tesla. You know, people like that. You know, electric vehicle, so no gas, no use of gasoline. So they have charging stations in places, and it's supposed to be cleaner energy, not polluting the air with all this stuff or whatever, yada yada yada. Except for, you know, get into a whole debate about that. That's for another topic, because you know, yeah, giant lithium-ion batteries, you know, end up in our landfill and stuff like that. It still contributes to pollution. But anyways, Apple is joining it, and for a while now we've been hearing rumors about an Apple car. The reason why the first set of you know, companies that Apple was going to go through for production, for what I've read from different articles, is that negotiations fell out only because Apple has it pretty much hard pressed that they would use, you know, third-party production companies to build the Apple car. However, they are not to get recognition for building the Apple car. So if the Apple car was a success, and let's say, like, you know, it got an award, you know, like, or whatever, the companies used to build the car would not get recognition, and the ones they were originally going to go with weren't too happy about that. They wanted a mention in it because it's actually them building the car, you know, them putting in the work, them, you know, running everything through their manufacturing, you know, their, yeah, you guys get the point. So we were wondering, is this going to happen? Is the Apple car going to be a thing? And it actually is, now that LG and Magna have pretty much got that contract. So they're looking for the first Apple cars, like, I guess, unveiling in 2025. However, LG and Magna is going to begin production of the Apple car, and this is going to compete against Tesla. From what I'm reading, it's going to compete against Tesla. Now, it didn't say if it was going to be an all electric battery powered vehicle, if it was going to be a hybrid. I would have to do some more research on that and probably do like a video completely talking about it. But it gets pretty interesting. Is this where we're really going? You know, it wouldn't surprise me if any company besides Apple tries to come out with an electric powered vehicle. Hell, it wouldn't surprise me if someone decides to take the Jetsons concept and put that into reality, having you know, floating flying cars that, you know, when you're done using them, instead of parking them outside, they fold up into a briefcase, and then you can just carry your car with you and put it up. Who knows? I mean, that's the beautiful thing about technology, is just how far and how much ways it will go. And yeah, so, you know, I'm kind of happy that Apple is taking the reins and trying to build a vehicle to go up against Teslas, because now it's really going to push that market to be very competitive. And we all know, when it comes to the tech world, when there's competition, stuff's about to get real. And the winners in all of this is not Apple, it's not Tesla, it's the consumers. We get options, we get features, we get some pretty cool tech. And yeah, of course, there's going to be their Tesla fanboys, there's going to be their Apple car fanboys. Yeah. Now, if someone's to ask me in a comment right now, what's the price on this thing, bruh, I don't know. But I'll tell you this much right now: it's not going to be like going to a dealership and buying a 2020 Dodge Charger for $25,000. Okay, this thing's probably going to be like a cool chunk, like $80,000 to $100,000 probably. This is Apple we're talking about here, and so we could possibly see that. And obviously, finance options will be available. Those with good credit obviously are going to get the better deal. Those with very crappy credit are going to be stuck with a lifetime of payments just to drive a car with the Apple logo on it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And but yeah, very interesting to see that LG and Magna are willing to do this. They're willing to partner up with Apple to build this car and absolutely take no recognition for the design or build quality of the vehicle. I guess that can kind of work out in their favor, because if the build quality is crappy, then Apple has to assume that. Apple can't just turn around and say, oh, well, that's because we went with LG and Magna. No, you wanted sole recognition for the production of this car, then you get sole recognition if it flops. That's how it goes, Apple. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Would you guys enter into a financial deal to just own an Apple car? I mean, there's people that really just use only Apple. They'll show that they have they have a Mac, they have a MacBook Pro, they have an iPad, they have an iPhone, they have an Apple Watch, they have a HomePod. Then they're gonna open their garage and be like, and I have the Apple car. So anyways, you guys let me know what your guys' thoughts are on each of the subjects that I talked about today in the podcast. Let me know what your guys' feedback is on that. For those that slightly popped in and popped out, thank you guys so much for just, hopping in for a brief moment. I know that this podcast is early. It's not my usual time. Usually I go live in about 15 minutes from now, but I got some things to do today, so I got to get those things done. So mostly everyone's going to be part of the replay crew. And if you guys are, #hump days. So I know you guys were here. You guys watched all the way till the end. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Thanks for checking me out on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. You guys are awesome. Enjoy Hump Day, right? Because tomorrow is Friday Junior, and then we got Friday, and then the weekend is here. And until then, thanks so much for listening and checking out this podcast. As always, peace.